All right, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, Insanely 13, and in this episode, we will be going underway for our sixth race of the season at Daytona. For most of IESC's history, Daytona has not only been the last preseason race, it's also been the first points-paying race. Typically, this is the track that would showcase what to expect over a full season, but that is not the case here. This is the sixth race, dead in the middle of the IESC GT season. Makes for a very interesting scenario, to say the least. Real quickly, we want to go over the points as they are right now after last week's chaotic situation at Sebring. At the bottom of the points standings, AMS Custom Dips, India Wipin, and SMY Dini all have 100 points each. FME Sports is 32nd with 120 points. 31st is Tire Barrier with 130. 30th is Dino Prime 77 with 140 points. 29th is NFL Racer, he has 145 points. 28th is Exo Sarah with 155. 27th is Grand Wolf 1221, he has 180 points. 26th is BDF 48 Gaming with 200 points. 25th is RZM Redline with 205 points. 24th is Deed Speedman with 225 points. 23rd is Raygun vs. Zombie with 240. 22nd is RV and Chaos Fox, he has 265 points. 21st is HYR Mall with 275 points. 20th is AMS Virage with 310 points. 19th is HYR Vasco, he has 345 points. 18th is Tactical Fallout with 355 points. 17th is AMS Indoctro with 375 points. 16th is TFB Mad with 390 points. Then you have 15th, AMS Rambo has 490, which brings him into a tie with Cam Worthy, who also has 490 points. 13th is AMS Mercs with 545 points. 12th is RZXU5 AMVP with 580 points. 11th is AMS Beast with 615 points. Then we get to our top 10. In 10th place is AMS Andrew 14, he has 775 points. 9th is PM221 with 800 points. 8th is NDL Dindu, he has 810 points. There's a tie for 6th between Prius Killer 8110 and SRD Shredder, they both have 820 points each. 5th is Ludicrous Speed with 840 points. 4th is PTG Little Caesar with 885 points. 3rd is PTG J Caesar. His bad day at Sebring means that he slipped to 3rd with only 950 points. 2nd place is AMS Mead, last week's winner. He has 1,005 points. And 1st is RZ and Valkyrie with 1,055 points. This is the closest that 1st and 2nd have been since the end of Race 2 this season. And speaking of prior races, earlier this season, I mean just last week, we had the event at Sebring, and I want to clarify something. My initial opinion, my initial thoughts was that yes, if you were to pit under a yellow flag, you are required to pit again as the field comes to the green. That way you do not pick up an unfair advantage. However, I was also partially wrong because the two AMS drivers that had pitted after the accident on lap 12 occurred had already gotten to pit lane, were already committed to pit lane before the yellow flag was called. So, because of that, it ends up being a scenario where the AMS drivers were fine. Prius Killer, despite being involved in the accident, had also made it to pit lane before the yellow flag was called. So the Prius and the AMS drivers all were fine. The only driver that was harmed was Valkyrie. Valkyrie, who had that accident, ended up having to serve a post-race penalty because he did not pit when the yellow flag went away and the green flag came out. Because of that, he was deemed to have a significant advantage. He was penalized 30 seconds post-race. He was not scored with a top 10 finish, but with that in mind, neither was his closest rival in the points, PTG J Caesar. So it looks like we're going to be looking at a slightly smaller field than normal today. It looks like only 14 drivers are interested in showing up in today's event. SDR Dramora will be making his first start of the season of note. So we continue to add on more new drivers as the season goes on. But it seems like we've kind of locked down our main core of drivers this year. Valkyrie is going to be representing the Acura again. AMS Mead is in the Lexus. NDL Dindu still is the only Ferrari representative. PTG Jay Caesar is in the BMW. An interesting case, Jay Caesar has not been happy with his BMW performance at all. So unhappy, in fact, that he has elected to share his BMW tune with anyone else who wants to run it. I am curious to see how many other BMW drivers will be utilizing PTG Jay Caesar's tune. AMS Rambo is representing the Lexus. PTG Little Caesar, that's Jay Caesar's son, will also be representing the BMW again. SRD Shredder is continuing to represent Mercedes. AMS Mercs is in the Chevrolet. Prius Killer is in the BMW. I think he is one of the drivers that is likely going to be using Jay Caesar's build. Dino Prime is representing the Chevrolet. AMS and Doctro and NFL Racer are both representing the Viper in today's event. Dremora is in the Chevrolet. I got to spend some time with Dremora earlier today. I'm going to be honest, it's not looking very promising for him, but things could always turn around. And then Ludicrous Speed is representing the Chevrolet in today's race. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, only 6 manufacturers in today's race. And again, slightly smaller field. I think this is the smallest field we've had thus far this season. On the fight between tires, we're looking at a race that will be 43 laps long. If it is possible that you can make your fuel tank and make your tires last 21 or 22 laps, you should be good on making it on just a single stop right in the middle of this race. But therein lies a bit of an issue there. When I was talking with Dremora earlier today, the word was that the Chevrolets are actually handicapped. They do not have a big enough fuel tank to make it to the end of a 22-lap run. They can only pull off a 20-lap run. And it looks like there may be something wrong with the lobby because drivers are already backing out. But yeah, so the Chevrolets may have a significant disadvantage. They are limited to just running soft tires the entire time. They cannot go farther on their tires because the fuel tanks just do not last long enough to take full use of it. That may explain why, despite Chevrolet being one of the few manufacturers that still have multiple drivers running in it, we don't really see very many great results from the Chevrolet drivers. IESC has not run a manufacturers championship this season. They've not run a manufacturers championship, I think, at all in any of their years past, but Chevrolet has just not been performing at all this season. I believe that the top 5 finish we saw the last week for U5 was the first time that we've seen a Chevrolet finish on the podium this year. No, I'm sorry, U5 has had 2 podium finishes, but yeah, no, 1 podium. Either way, U5 has been the only Chevrolet driver to bring home any results, and those results, for the most part, have not been enough to directly compete for wins. Sebring was the exception, not the rule. And again, I wonder if part of the problem is because they do not have the flexibility in the fuel tank that everyone else does. They are pretty much locked into making 3-stop strategies, and they have to fill up more of their fuel tank to run those entire strategies than most of the rest of the field does. Ooh, that's a nice point of interest camera. I really like that one. As we see the field real quickly going ahead and trying to get in order here. Okay, so we only have 1 point of interest camera. But yeah, so if anyone can take their tires 22 laps today, they could make it to the end. Another interesting thing, some drivers are electing to run even less front downforce than what we've seen before. For the majority of the season, it has been a max front, min rear aerodynamic setup that has brought drivers most of their success. This season, however, we had our seeding race in the wet, and the winner, Mead, was running a setup that was no front downforce and no rear downforce, giving him significant straight line speed and giving him a lot of ability to just make overtakes where no one else could really make them happen. With that in mind, I think it is very, very likely we could be looking at a race where drivers are going to kind of compromise and see them running less front and downforce. Now, that will tear apart the life of their front tires, but lower front downforce means, in theory, better acceleration, better top end. Some drivers are trying to get around it by actually adding some height under the nose of the car, so that way they can get some artificial roll in the nose of the car to make it through some of the corners in the infield a bit easier. I don't know how that's going to play out. I have not gotten an exact information on what drivers are doing what strategy when it comes to their setups in today's event. Real quickly, we want to go ahead and run through the field. Don't know what NFL Racer is doing. There's no way he's in some sort of ghost mode right now. Our pole sitter, once again, is RZM Valkyrie. Now that the rain is gone, we are back to normal. AMS Mead, who is second in points after his win last week, he is going to be starting in second position. What in the hell are those two people doing up there at the front? I have no idea. Third place will be Indiel Dindu. You see Dindu there, representing the Ferrari. Fourth place will be Ludicrous Speed, having one of his best qualifying runs thus far this season. Fifth place will be AMS Rambo. Sixth place will be... I'm really getting pissed off at these people not figuring out how their bloody lineup is supposed to be. This is honestly more than a little bit aggravating. This is just, I'm getting very, very, very annoyed at this right now. So yeah, we've not even gotten to start the race and we're already under a red flag because drivers can't figure out how to fix their bloody cars or anything like that. Go figure. I do have a sheet here that gives me the official qualifying order in today's race. For whatever reason, PM221 is not running in the event today. RZM Valkyrie has first, AMS Mead has second, third place will be Indiel Dindu, fourth will be Ludicrous Speed, fifth will be AMS Rambo, sixth will be PTG J Caesar, fifth will be AMS Rambo, sixth will be PTG J Caesar, seventh will be SRD Shredder, eighth will be AMS Mercs, ninth will be Prius Killer 8110, 10th will be Dino Prime, 11th will be AMS Indoctro, 12th will be NFL Racer, 13th will, if he was here, would be PM221. Again, I don't know why he has not shown up. And last place, 14th, would be SDR Dromora. Dromora, a disappointing 5 seconds off of the leader's time in qualifying. One second. I'm going to bring up the map here and see if I can figure out what in the devil is going on here. So I see one car, that is Shredder, that is parked down there in Speedway Turn 4, and then Indoctro and Dromora both have made have rushed ahead and made a pit stop, and I have no idea why, if they were involved in some sort of accident under the yellow flag, or if they were just stupid and put the wrong tires on, or what, but the field now is starting to go underway properly. Valkyrie is your pole sitter. The big question, of course, after his lack of being able to perform at Sebring due to the rain causing him to burn up his tires, now we're at Daytona. Valkyrie, we know he's on pole. The big question is, can he open up enough of a gap in the infield section so that way no one can get a draft off of him? If Valkyrie is up in front but has to deal with draft right behind him as they come into the bus stop or Speedway Turn 1 on a proper flying lap, Valkyrie could be under significant stress just due to the way that the draft works in this game. The draft will put an artificial drag addition to a car leading in a 2 or 3 car battle, but if Valkyrie can open up a 1-second gap by the time that they get to the backstretch chicane, then Valkyrie should be able to walk away with this win without any issue. Mead has been his biggest competitor over the last week and is currently his closest rival in the points, only 50 points out right now. The field's now doubled up. As we come to the line, Valkyrie and Mead, side by side, will take him down to the green flag here at Daytona. Please do not do that. Okay, cool. The game has broken via points of interest cameras. I apologize for that. But Valkyrie has gotten through turn 1 without issue. Mead is running right behind him, and immediately Valkyrie has opened up a 1/4 of a second. That is a 1/4 of what he needs to get away from Mead, and already he is even farther away now. Now over a 1/3 of a second away. Valkyrie now over 1/2 of a second ahead of Mead, as Mead has to deal with Dindu. If Valkyrie can open it up to a 1-second gap, he is basically guaranteed another easy race victory here. We look real quickly back to Mead, who is stuck trying to keep NDL Dindu behind him right now. Out of the second infield hairpin, he is 8/10 behind Valkyrie, under braking. On acceleration now, Dindu runs right behind Mead, and Mead is going to be in a massive amounts of trouble because Dindu being right behind him is going to put significant strain on Mead, and that's it. Valkyrie has this race won already. He has broken the 1-second gap. Valkyrie doesn't even really have to show up now because he's basically walked off with this by default. The fight is going to be for second for the rest of this race. Mead runs 1 second behind Valkyrie, and Dindu runs right behind him in the Ferrari. Big slide into the dirt. Oh, and Dindu's around. Dindu has spun out in the dirt. He'll get the car back together, but he has gone from 3rd all the way back to 7th, 8th, 9th. He's going to drop out of the top 10. A horrendous start for NDL Dindu here. He is going to fall all the way back to 11th. Is there damage on the car? A little bit of transmission damage, but if that's the worst he has to deal with, I think he should be fine for the rest of the day. But for NDL Dindu, who is now trying to fight back against NFL Racer on the inside, this is horrible. Was in 3rd, fighting for 2nd, but lost the car under the braking and the bus stop chicane, and immediately has fallen out of the top 10 positions. So Mead now will settle in place in 2nd position, and he has already opened more than a full second on 3rd place Ludicrous Speed. And PTG Jay Caesar is now trying to put the pressure on Ludicrous Speed here in 3rd position, with PTG Little Caesar, his son, about a full second behind this fight. Most of this field seems to have already spread out quite a bit early on here. A little farther back, SRD Shredder in the middle of a fight right behind Little Caesar, trying to keep AMS Rambo, AMS Mercs, and Prius Killer behind him. Mind you, Shredder and Prius Killer are both fighting for top 5 points paying positions in the overall season standings at the moment. Shredder and Prius both have had an equal best finish this season, with 5th. Shredder got his the season opener. Prius got his last week at Sebring. It looks like Little Caesar is opening the gap just a little bit on Shredder here. And now under heavy braking. Does anyone try to lunge? No, everyone stays in line for the moment. Oh, and that's Little Caesar. He's had an issue. Dropped tires in the dirt, and it's going to let Shredder try and make a run on the outside. Shredder running all the way against the outside wall. He's going to get a big run as the banking falls away, coming out of Speedway Turn 4. It's not enough for him to out-drag Little Caesar, though. They are still side by side for the 5th position at the line. And this has brought AMS Rambo up. This has brought AMS Mercs up. Shredder has the nose ahead under braking going into turn 1. Just a slight amount of contact. Side by side still. In the end, it is Little Caesar, but Shredder has a stable car on acceleration. He's going to try the crossover. Little Caesar still has the preferred inside line. And now they're going to be 3 wide. Shredder cannot keep that extreme outside line in the second hairpin. That's let Little Caesar by, and now Shredder has to try and keep Rambo behind. Merckx runs right behind, just watching at the moment. Little Caesar seems to be having a little bit of trouble in the second hairpin. He has dropped a bunch of time and has let SRD Shredder come right back into play against him. The top 4 are pretty much broken away from this fight right now. That's Indiel Dindu, who's already made his way back up in the 9th. He's at the back of this fight right now. And that is Jay Caesar. Something has happened to Jay Caesar. Jay Caesar is now on the extreme outside and is hemorrhaging time. What has happened to Jay Caesar? Has he damaged the car's transmission somewhere? No damage, but he has suddenly lost a huge chunk of time, and this has now let Shredder go ahead. He has outran Little Caesar into the braking zone, and SRD Shredder now goes up into the 4th position. PTG Little Caesar runs right behind, and now Jay Caesar is in 8th at the moment. Still ahead of Indiel Dindu, but we don't know how long that's going to last. It looks like Little Caesar's a little bit quicker out of the bus stop chicane this time by. He's going to come to the outside of Shredder. Shredder tried doing this to him earlier, but Shredder couldn't make it pull off, but maybe Little Caesar has something in that BMW that'll let him pull it off. Indiel Dindu gets squeezed there by Prius Killer just a bit. And Shredder is going to hold it just barely over Little Caesar, but again, this time Little Caesar has the inside line advantage. Shredder is going to lose position again. It's like a repeat of last time because here's AMS Rambo. Rambo is now side by side with Shredder because Little Caesar can make that first hairpin corner way better than Shredder can. But it was in the second hairpin that Little Caesar lost a bunch of time last lap. Will he make that same mistake again here? Yes, he does actually. He makes the exact same mistake, and Shredder is all of a sudden right there behind him again. So this fight from 4th to about 10th, honestly almost back to 11th, is absolutely insane right now. Jay Caesar now loses a position to Indiel Dindu. Here comes the move. Shredder moves to the inside, heavy under the braking, going into the bus stop chicane. Alexis pulls out, and that's going to be Rambo. Rambo also outbrakes Little Caesar. Incredible! I don't know how in the world he did it, but he pulled out the last possible moment as moved right by Little Caesar without issue. So an incredibly intense draft train from about 4th to 10th dominates the race at the moment. This time, Shredder has broken the gap between himself and Rambo just a bit, and Rambo has 3 very aggressive cars trying to get by him. Rambo holding the inside. Now we see Little Caesar going on the outside. Little Caesar made this move work on Shredder earlier. There's a look to the inside by Merckx. And all 3 of them go wide. And they're 4 wide there. And that's going to be Merckx, who's going to move up to 6, and Dindu, who's spun out on racing lap 1, is now up into the 5th position. Incredible job by Indiel Dindu. Now he is the one right behind Shredder at this stage of the event. So Dindu is on one heck of a recovery drive right now here at Daytona's 24-hour circuit. He runs right behind the Mercedes of Shredder, trying to stay away from Merckx. And Little Caesar and Jay Caesar now are both out of the top 5 out of about 6. And Shredder's the one who made the mistake in the second hairpin this time. Now Dindu is up in the 4th position. And it's AMS Merckx who runs just a little bit behind Dindu right now. Shredder and Little Caesar continuing to swap positions. Merckx trying to see if he can do anything to run down Dindu right now. The gap is about 7/10 of a second. If Merckx can stay within a full second of Dindu, the game will help him out a little bit by putting a bit of extra artificial drag on the nose of the car. Under braking, Merckx is within 6/10 as they go under braking onto the backstretch chicane. Shredder and Little Caesar again side by side under the brakes as they come out of the bus stop chicane. Dindu just has that car set up way too good. Dindu has broken it. So Dindu, despite the spin earlier, has already recovered up to the 4th position, and now Shredder has caught AMS Merckx. Merckx holding the inside line. Shredder trying to come around the outside. Chevrolet versus Mercedes. As these two run side by side, it will bring Little Caesar up to play. But Shredder does have the straight line speed to outrun Merckx. He will shut down in front of the Chevrolet, and Shredder moves back into the 5th position. Merckx is going to dive into turn 1 for Shredder on the outside line. Neck and neck as they go through turn number 1. A little bit of sideways moment on the throttle for Shredder. And it looks like Merckx has it. Shredder is going to lunge it onto the inside. These two have been side by side out of this corner the last few laps. But this time, Shredder has the advantage. And now it is Little Caesar who is right behind Merckx at this stage of the event. Merckx looking high, looking low. Here comes Little Caesar on the extreme outside. Shredder again misses the braking zone in the second hairpin. And now Merckx is trying to keep Little Caesar behind him. Shredder drops tires into the dirt. That's going to back up Jay Caesar a bit. This is a knife fight here from 5th to the 9th position right now. All 5 of these cars, none of them seem to be able to get away from each other right now. Look at this side by side. Shredder versus the two Caesars. Jay Caesar pushing the Mercedes. Little Caesar trapped on the outside with no help under heavy braking. The two Caesars have to go in side by side. Shredder trying to straight line it. Drops tires in the dirt. That's going to hurt his acceleration out. Both of the BMWs have a run. Here comes Little Caesar on the outside. Jay Caesar runs right behind. So is AMS Rambo. Oh, big twitch by Shredder there. This time Shredder has the inside line. There's Rambo running right behind in Little Caesar's draft. Now Jay Caesar looks to the inside. They're going to be 3 wide on the run across the line. They're going to be 4 wide almost. No! Rambo backs out of it. But one Caesar on the inside, Shredder, one Caesar on the outside. Shredder is the one who gets pushed offline, loses both positions of the Caesar family. And Rambo is all sorts of sideways. Alright, another fight starting to brew as Dindu has caught Ludicrous Speed for the podium position. Again, Dindu spun out lap 1, but he is coming with a vengeance at the moment. Runs right behind the Chevrolet. This is the best performance we've seen Chevrolet have on a dry racetrack all season long, and Dindu wants to take that away. Ferrari up the inside, and that fight is over. Ludicrous will have draft on the back straightaway, but whatever setup Dindu has on the car, it's enough to let him out-accelerate everyone out of every single braking zone. Already, he is gaining about 0.4 to 55 hundredths on the acceleration out of a corner alone. He's already 0.6 ahead of Ludicrous Speed right now. And based off the way it's gone, Dindu should have a more than 1 second gap over Ludicrous after clearing this section of track. Nope, Ludicrous has not lost Dindu yet, but it's really close. He's just about to. I wonder if Dindu has one of those setups that are maximum speed and he's just running no downforce, and that's what he's trying to do so that way he can outrun everyone out of the corners. But yes, Ludicrous has now lost touch with Dindu at this stage of the event. So now the question will be, will Dindu be able to catch up to Mead? Valkyrie has opened up more than a second a lap on Mead throughout this race as it has gone on today. All right, real quick, I want to go ahead and look at the tire wear. Our leader, Valkyrie, is at 41% on that left front. Our second place driver, AMS Mead, who has been a tire whisperer this season, he is only at 24%, and he is much more evenly worn all around. I wonder, is Mead going to try and do another medium to medium strategy, while Valkyrie will do another 2 stopper and run softs multiple times today? Dindu, who is in the 3rd position, had that spin on lap 1, but is on recovery drive. He's at 36, so he has used up a little less of his tires than Valkyrie has right now. Dindu does have the pace to run down Mead, but I don't think he has the pace to run down run down Valkyrie after the spin from earlier. Ludicrous speed. He is in the Chevrolet. From what we understand, the Chevys do not have the amount of fuel necessary to be able to make a one-stop strategy work. He is at 25% tire life right now. Merckx, who is in the 5th position at the moment, and the head of this big fight, although it is starting to settle down from 5th to 9th, he is at 26%. But more importantly, he's got some engine damage, and that's not going to help him on track or when he pits. That will take up more time. PTG J. Caesar, the man who had been bringing the fight to Valkyrie most of the season, he is back there in the 6th position, 27% tire wear at the moment. SRG Shredder, who is in the 7th position, he is running at 28% tire wear. Little Caesar's just gone by him on the inside. And as we look at Little Caesar's tire wear here, Little Caesar, 28%. So it does look like everyone is on relatively even tire wear except for Valkyrie, who is burning through his tires a little faster than everyone else, and Mead, who is on a different strategy from everyone else. I will take a quick look at Rambo, who was in the middle of this fight but has lost touch. He is at the 27% mark right now. So Rambo might be trying to make medium tires work at the moment. But yeah, Valkyrie committing early to a 2-stop strategy, soft, soft, soft. So I'm anticipating that we're going to see him pitting about lap 14, lap 15, somewhere around there. Now, if he stretches his tires out a little farther, which he could absolutely make work, if he stretches his tires out far enough, he will not have to worry about paying the piper later on. And what do I mean by paying the piper? Thus far this season, when it comes to driver-on-driver battle, pitting ahead, pitting earlier than the person you're fighting with. Oh, and that's not going to be ruled by J-Season. Now, J-Season didn't press the advantage, so that won't be a penalty. But you're not allowed to try and make a move below the double yellow line here. But what I mean by paying the piper is that pitting early gives you significant track position and also gets you off of bad tires quicker, and has been a big advantage throughout these races. The problem, though, is that if you pit too early, too often, your tires will be struggling at the end of these races. In a scenario like that, that's what I like to call paying the piper. You're getting all this extra track time or lap time early, but then you're going to hemorrhage it all in the last few laps. If you can stretch your tires out far enough, though, you don't have to worry about it. You won't have to pay the piper. You can just go hard to the end of the event. This has gotten really intense here. Father and son duo, they bullied Shredder out of the way. Now they're doing the same to the Chevrolet of Merckx. Shredder is right there, though. Shredder has fought back. They're keeping Little Caesar behind, but J. Caesar now finally returns to a top 5 position. Again, J. Caesar was up in the top 5 earlier, but then lost a bunch of time. I don't know what happened. He lost all that time running an extreme high line, going slow, coming onto Speedway Turn 1. But whatever it was, it has taken J. Caesar the better part of 6 laps to recover all this time. But I think now, because Merckx has a little bit of engine damage, I think J. Caesar will likely be able to settle into the 5th place position now. Merckx runs right behind J. Caesar at the moment, and Little Caesar runs behind Merckx. A little bit of running into the dirt there by J. Caesar. Shredder coming on the line on the outside of Little Caesar. AMS Rambo has pretty much lost touch with this battle, so this has turned into a 4-way, and even then, J. Caesar is running just fast enough. There is a possibility that if J. Caesar has a good enough run out of Turn 1, this will be just a 3-man fight for 3rd. 3 wide there for 6. This is a bold strategy, and this isn't going to work out for someone. Shredder backs out the brake early and still gets run off circuit. Pretty much runs himself off circuit. Honestly, Little Caesar, all sorts of sideways coming out of Turn 1. And for the moment, Merckx holds on to 6th. Little Caesar runs hard into the back of the Chevrolet. No change for position right now. The other thing to consider is that this race started in the night, really early morning, but by the time the checkers wave, we are expecting to see a green track in the daylight. So keep an eye on that. The track will get warmer as the night goes on and turns into morning. Not a focus now, but in the last few laps of this race, it could be an interesting effect. Drivers who have a car that handles very well now may not have a car that handles well at night. At this point, Jay Caesar's absolutely blown the doors off of this fight. These three have all caught each other once more. Merckx, Little Caesar, and Shredder is now menage a trois for the 6th position. AMS Rambo is just far enough back that if someone has an instant or spins out, he might be able to steal a position, but he is not directly fighting. Here come around the outside. They're going to be 3 wide again, and they're braking. This didn't work last time. I don't know why Shredder is trying it again. But it will work for Little Caesar. He chops down in front of the Chevrolet. Merckx loses 6 now to Little Caesar. Looks like Merckx had a good run out of the hairpin, the first infield hairpin. Now they come through the kink and into the second infield hairpin. We've seen Little Caesar throw away lots of times here twice before. Will he make that mistake again? Yes, he does. He makes the same mistake again. It's like every time Little Caesar gets out in front of this little fight, he loses a bunch of time in that second infield hairpin and brings them all up. Not only has it brought them all up, AMS Rambo is all of a sudden back into this fight. Here comes Merckx to the inside of Little Caesar, but Little Caesar has the acceleration. He'll hold the position for now. Shredder going on the extreme outside. Shredder tried making the outside work 3 wide, 2 laps in a row. It didn't work the first time. I don't know why he tried it the second time. And Valkyrie is pitting on lap 13. Well, that's interesting. Valkyrie pitting on lap 13. And if I've run my mathematics correctly, Valkyrie's second stop would be around lap 26, and his third stop would be lap 39. That doesn't look good. Valkyrie could be in trouble with tire life again. Tire life is one of the things that killed Valkyrie last week at Sebring and might end up killing him again now. This also has dropped Valkyrie into 3rd position right now behind NDL Dindu. AMS Mead is now your leader with Dindu 2nd. Now Ludacris has actually moved by Valkyrie, so Ludacris is now in the 3rd position here. In fact, PTG Jay Caesar might also get by Valkyrie. Yes, it looks like he will. Where is Valkyrie going to end up? He's still in the pit lane exit. He's going to be behind that giant light. Valkyrie is going to have to fight his way through traffic. The only thing about this, though, is that the Acura has been the best at out-accelerating everyone in the corners on corner exit. So Valkyrie's able to change lanes on corner exit and still maintain all of his acceleration. That has been the biggest advantage of the Acura. So when Valkyrie catches this fight that's been going on from 6 to 8, it may not be that much of a problem for him. All right, once again, we look at this fight from 5th to 8th. PTG Little Caesar has SRD Shredder right now. Rambo really wide farther back there. Shredder runs right behind, and then Merckx is behind Shredder at the moment. Shredder is taking an extreme outside line. He's not going to get any drafting help there. I don't know what his strategy is, but that is an extreme outside line. All right, so Mead leads at this stage of the event. Valkyrie making a pit stop very early on. Here comes Shredder to the inside. Side by side again for a 5th position. He is by Little Caesar without issue. But it looks like the BMW has a better run avoiding the grass in the bus up chicane. And now Little Caesar comes around the outside. Here comes AMS Merckx. He's going to get the draft off of Shredder. Shredder has the inside line. Little Caesar on the outside. Neck and neck as they go through Speedway turn 3 and 4. Yeah, the game has actually destroyed the points of interest camera. I apologize for that. Oh, Little Caesar all sorts of sideways. It lets Merckx have a run, but he backs out of it. And it's Shredder who's going to drop 2 tires in the dirt. He's sideways. He hits Caesar side by side as they go through the first infield hairpin. They're still side by side. They're 3 wide. 3 wide coming down to the kink. Someone has to back out of it. Who's it going to be? None of them are backing out. Yes, It's Merckx who backs out! And Merckx is gonna back out and then use that to get by Shredder around the outside! Can't make it sick! This time Little Caesar does not throw away time though! And Valkyrie is there, along with Rambo! Valkyrie is now in the middle of this fight! He needs to clear these drivers quickly! Rambo, all the way on the outside, can't keep Valkyrie behind him. Riding on board with Valkyrie here. Again, Valkyrie's biggest advantage has been being able to change lanes on corner acceleration. This section would be the best point for him to make use of that ability. He is working that steering wheel very aggressively. He's got to run on the drivers ahead. Merckx holding the inside. Is Valkyrie going to go to the outside? He is. Valkyrie looks to the outside. We can see Little Caesar ahead, trying to look to the outside of SRD Shredder. Valkyrie and Merckx are in a drag race for a second position. And now Valkyrie gets a toe off of Little Caesar. Valkyrie might be ready to roll down for a setup right now. Dindu is hanging out in third position. They're side by side for fourth position. Valkyrie looking to the extreme outside. How aggressively is he going to go into it? He crosses over and he's got them. He's got them all. It wasn't even a better car or a better driver. It's just that Little Caesar and Shredder both drove off the circuit. If Valkyrie wins the race, it's going to be due to that. He didn't do anything wrong, and everyone he had to pass made every mistake they should not have made. Valkyrie, now in fourth position. He is already 7/10 ahead of Merckx, who followed Valkyrie through to move up into the position. Yeah, already Valkyrie is more than a second ahead of Merckx. It's over. Valkyrie is by. Now the big question with Valkyrie is going to be how long can he take his tires in the final stint of the race? Mead is still out on track. He has yet to make his first stop. Dindu has now made his stop, but has dropped him back to 12th position. Dindu realistically is in a fight with Ludicrous Speed for a last podium position. Ludicrous is still out on track right now, but I do imagine that he's going to be pitting for new tires sooner rather than later. Mead, your current leader. He has put Dremora a lap down. So Dremora goes a lap down a little bit before the halfway point of this event. So I think Ludicrous is on the same strategy as Mead, but I don't think Ludicrous has a fuel tank in that car big enough to take him to the race's halfway point. I could be wrong. It'd be interesting to see me be wrong, but right now I think it's going to be Mead versus Valkyrie for the win. And even then, I think Valkyrie has the advantage as long as Valkyrie doesn't burn up his tires too quickly here. PTG, Little Caesar, and Shredder continue their fight, and Merckx is still there. Rambo is there as well, watching this as it plays out. Right on board with Rambo. This four-car fight just will not end. Check it out. A little bit of a fight developing as Ludicrous Speed has been caught by Jay Caesar now. So this is a fight for second on track at the moment. Mind you, Jay Caesar has also not yet pitted today. So a lot of drivers running a potential single stop medium strategy, and Jay Caesar, if he can get by Ludicrous, this would be a fight for position on track. Again, Dindu and Valkyrie are the only two drivers who pitted early for softs. Ludicrous Speed, he's coming into the pits now here on lap 18. So for Ludicrous, it's going to be a little bit frustrating because he could not square circle. The fuel tank is just not big enough in the Chevrolet. We see Little Caesar making a stop as well farther back. Those drivers were on mediums and they couldn't drag those tires out any farther. So Jay Caesar now moves up into the second position. Valkyrie is now third. And you can see Valkyrie right there. All right, also AMS and Doctor has decided to pit as well at this stage of the event. Mind you, AMS and Doctorow pitted early on with Dremora on the pace lap, I think to repair damage. I'm not sure what happened there. But if Arzium Valkyrie catches and passes Jay Caesar here before Caesar pits, then their fight between Caesar and Valkyrie will be over today, and it's really just going to be between Mead and Valkyrie. But again, unless Valkyrie can't make his tires go far enough, I imagine that Valkyrie has this race won. The big question, though, Valkyrie pitted on lap 13, and again, that's 13 out of 44. That's really only 12 racing laps, which doesn't speak good for Valkyrie's ability to make it to the end of this race, assuming that he can make it go 13 laps for each stint, even if it's 13 racing laps in stint 2 and 3. That number only rounds out to 39, and this is a 44-lap race. He would need to find 5 more laps somewhere, and making a third pit stop in this race would be really, really problematic for him. But with that said, I do think it is worth noting, we have not yet confirmed that Mead is going to be able to make it to the race's halfway point. He's at 51% tire life on the front tires, 52 in the rears, and we're only at lap 19. And again, he would need to make it to roughly lap 22. And not only do that, the second stint of this race is going to be under green flag conditions. All right, so Caesar, Merc, Shredder, and Rambo are all pitting this time by here. So yeah, Mead is right now the only person trying to go really long on the mediums. Can Mead make it to lap 22? One thing I'm really interested in is that big fight that's been going on with Mercs, with Shredder, with Lil Caesar. Lil Caesar pitted earlier than the other drivers in this group. I have to wonder also, are drivers going to throw away the medium, or soft strategy? If we see someone try a medium, then soft, do 2 softs, but make one of them on mediums and the others on softs. No one really tried that in the Laguna race, but maybe it's a strategy worth trying today. Mercs is still ahead of Shredder. Here comes Lil Caesar. Is Lil Caesar gonna get by him? Lil Caesar gets by Rambo. He dives to the inside, side by side with Shredder. Shredder is on the outside. He has cold tires. This should easily go in Lil Caesar's favor. The big thing, though, is gonna be that Mercs right now has position over both of them. Also, PTG, Jay Caesar, and Ludicrous Speed have pretty much caught each other for the 5th position. Mind you, NFL Racer, who is in 4th, still has not yet pitted, so this is realistically for 4th position. Again, Jay Caesar was running about here before suddenly he dropped a bunch of time coming on to Speedway Turn 1, but he has gained it back. And DL Dindu running about 20 seconds behind Valkyrie at this stage of this race. So Dindu has lost roughly 1 second to Valkyrie per lap across the entire event today. So Dindu most definitely not in the fight for the win. He's just going to have to hope that he can maybe salvage a 3rd place finish against this man here, PTG Jay Caesar. Dremora is in the pit lane now. He also could not make it go 22 laps either. So a one-stop strategy really only in play for NFL Racer in 4th and AMS Mead in 1st. PTG Jay Caesar looking at the outside of Ludicrous Speed. Both cars slide wide in Turn 1. Jay Caesar kind of pushed wide by Ludicrous. On the acceleration out of Turn 1, Jay Caesar has it. Ludicrous is able to defend though. Mind you, that is NFL Racer ahead of these two. Right now, they would be fighting for position if they catch NFL Racer. But again, NFL Racer is on a different strategy. NFL Racer more than likely is trying to position himself for a 6th or 7th place finish when on pace. He's really only about 11th or 12th fastest. Just trying to cut out a pit stop by dragging his tires out as far as he can. Jay Caesar right behind Ludicrous. Does he make a move to the inside? He looks, he thinks, but Will is not willing to commit to it. They still say nose to tail as they go through the bus stop chicane. Now they accelerate into Speedway Turn 3. Big problem for Mead is that Mead is losing time rapidly to Valkyrie as the stint is going on. Valkyrie might be fast enough to outrun the extra pit stop that he may have to make. The big question for Valkyrie, of course, is can he make these tires last what might be 14 laps, or if not that, 15 laps, and Ludacris has gone off! Ludacris has gone off circuit there in turn 1, and that will give the position to Jay Caesar. Ludacris isn't done yet. He looks to the outside of Jay Caesar, pulls even, but you don't want to be side by side in the second hairpin turn. Ludacris is going to try and make a crossover work, but the BMW just has too good of acceleration out. Ludacris is still within drafting range, but now Jay Caesar has clean air. That should help him a bit. The problem, though, is that that's countered by the game putting artificial front drag on the car if you're in the lead of a two-car fight. So Jay Caesar will be dealing with a little bit of extra drag on the front tires of his car unless he can break a 1 second gap between himself and Ludacris. Also, again, these two are just about to catch NFL Racer. Moore is in the pits again. I'm going to check Mead real quickly here. Well, actually, no. I'm going to check Jay Caesar and Ludacris until they get out of the braking zone. See if Ludacris makes any moves. Oh, he got there. He got right to Jay Caesar's rear. He's got the acceleration out. The BMW drops tires in the dirt. Bad run for Jay Caesar. Here comes Ludacris on the outside. I'm sure Jay Caesar's not going to be happy with that because it was Ludacris tapping the BMW in the back that let him get by. But also, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, Mead is going to make it 22 laps on these tires somehow. So Mead is committing to a one-stop strategy. And NFL Racer is doing the same. A lot of these other drivers, we still don't really know what their strategy is. I'm thinking that for these two, Ludacris and Jay Caesar, they might be doing a medium soft. So Ludacris got a little bit physical, but he is by Jay Caesar. This is the most competitive that Ludacris has looked all season long. Now they are just about to catch NFL Racer. NFL Racer is on very worn out tires. He'll be pitting this lap. Real quickly, I just want to look at Mead and his tire life. What are his tires looking like here? Oh my goodness, 64% in the rear. But he's still got the lead. In fact, Valkyrie did not continue to close in the last few laps. Valkyrie has actually burned up his time. Valkyrie's gotten damaged for the second week in a row. It's happened. Valkyrie, for the second week in a row, has had an accident. The race has been blown open. The championship has been blown open. As for the second time this season, the second race in a row, Valkyrie has taken damage. We have a race on our hands now between me and Dindu and Valkyrie. Dindu still running. Dindu's going to take second position from Valkyrie here. Where is Mead on track? Game says that Mead is still on the circuit. Where is he? Here's Mead. Wait, has he still not pitted? Mead has still not pitted. He has gone over half the race and he has still not made a pit stop. And NFL Racer has made his stop, so NFL Racer has committed. But Valkyrie has crashed for the second week in a row. And the driver who won the first 4 races this season, he crashed twice last week at Sebring, but still had a grip on the championship. But now, with Mead out in front without any issues, and Valkyrie dealing with his second accident in as many weeks, realistically third accident in 2 weeks, all of a sudden not only is this race blown open, but so is the championship. So Mead currently holds on to the lead and still has not yet pitted for this fight for third now, which is between Jay Caesar and Ludacris. Jay Caesar has not been able to get by Ludacris. Valkyrie, after a pit stop, has come out in 5th, just ahead of SRD Shredder. All right, Mead is finally making his stop on lap 23, so Mead will be able to make his tires on the final stint of the race go slightly longer. Shredder has also pulled away from Merckx and Little Caesar as well. And this also means that NDL Dindu, who spun out on lap 1 of this race, is likely going to end up leading laps here. Once again, we turn our focus to this fight between PTG J Caesar and Ludicrous Speed. This time, Ludicrous is not as quick through the bus stop chicane. He's the one who drops tires into the dirt just a bit. But I think he's close enough. He might still be able to get a tow off of the car ahead. Yes, NDL Dindu will now take the lead of this race. But again, we're anticipating that Dindu still has 2 more stops to make today. I'm anticipating Dindu's next stop will be around lap 28 or so. Ludicrous looks to the outside of Jay Caesar, is not able to make it stick. Jay Caesar is a bit sideways, but he still has the inside line, which will give him a great run out of the hairpin that is turn 1. He cuts the BMW's rear end a little sideways. Ludicrous is still hanging on. Jay Caesar is not pulling away from Ludicrous like he had pulled away from everyone else today. This is a legit fight for not just 4th, but this could be a fight for 3rd position, depending on how well Valkyrie is able to recover. Reminder, Valkyrie didn't have to overtake these drivers earlier, really. Pit stops did it, and Ludicrous has dropped tires into the dirt. And that will let Jay Caesar get away. So that fight is now over. Ludicrous' self-inflicted error will now let Jay Caesar settle into 3rd, and now Ludicrous has to look behind at Valkyrie. And here's one thing to consider. Shredder has not lost touch with Valkyrie. In fact, Valkyrie is really losing ground to Shredder at this stage of the event. There's no damage to the car, but Valkyrie just has not been able to pull away from SRD Shredder, and he's still running down Ludicrous. So Valkyrie could unintentionally drag Shredder into this fight for Ludicrous. This would be the best finish for Ludicrous, one way or another, but Shredder could be trying to bet his best finish of the season, a 5th, with maybe stealing a 4th from Ludicrous, but Shredder has to stay in Valkyrie's draft in order to do that. But that self-inflicted mistake there by Ludicrous could make it all. Oh, and Valkyrie's dropped tires in the dirt again. It seems like as the night has gone away and it has turned into daytime, the handling in the Acura has become dangerous. Valkyrie has already had 1 accident, and he is not nearly as fast even after repairing the car as he was before. He's still one of the faster drivers here, but he is not the fastest. His car is a qualifying special. In circumstances that were similar to qualifying, Valkyrie has been absolutely the fastest, over a second a lap faster than everyone else. But now that the track is warming up and rubber is going onto the road, Valkyrie seems to be struggling. Shredder runs about a second behind, a little more than a second behind. I think Shredder's pretty much lost Valkyrie's draft at this point, but those laps that he did have Valkyrie's draft was enough to get Shredder out of his fight that he had with Lil Caesar and Merckx. Speaking of those two, Lil Caesar and Merckx are still fighting for 7th and 8th position, but right now we're looking at Valkyrie as he is trying to make a move on Ludicrous Speed. Ludicrous went really long on the first stint on medium tires, but we're anticipating Ludicrous is going to do another soft strap run and then a soft run after that. Here comes Valkyrie, who's on far fresher tires, but is now knocked way off sequence from his accident. Ludicrous on the inside of Valkyrie kicks the Acura sideways, a little bit of contact, and Valkyrie can't kick the rear of the car under him. We saw in the first stint as well that it was the rear tires on Dindu that were burning up, but it was the fronts on Valkyrie's that were burning up. But now, I wonder if it's in the daytime, is that changing? And now Valkyrie is dealing with the rear tires burning up faster than the fronts. Either way, Ludicrous had a better run, but Valkyrie is now going to cross over as they come out of Speedway Turn 2. Side by side, braking into the bus stop chicane. Valkyrie is going to lunge ahead of Ludicrous, drops tires into the dirt to do so, but I think he's going to get by. Oh, he dropped. He's really trying to straight line the bus stop chicane as much as he can, and while it's working for now, he has absolutely cleared Ludicrous for the moment. It makes me wonder, can he continue doing that for the rest of the race? Ludicrous runs within draft of Valkyrie right now. The other thing is that Jay Caesar is in 3rd, and if Valkyrie can break the draft between himself and Ludicrous, then Jay Caesar would be the next driver he would have to focus on. NDL Dindu, who spun out on lap 1, is your current race leader. Oh, Valkyrie's all sorts of sideways out of turn 1. The handling on the Acura seems to have gone evil here today. But Valkyrie is fighting through it. He is on a recovery drive. And the thing that I'm going to say that I don't think a lot of other people want to hear is that Valkyrie is not out of this race win yet. He could still bring home the victory today. It's going to be rough, because he basically has to run down 15 seconds between himself and Mead, and then on top of that, we'll have another pit stop to deal with. But if anyone can do it, Valkyrie might be able to make it happen. Ludicrous Speed has been caught by SRD Shredder, though. So now the fight for fifth. Shredder trying to his best finish this season, or equal his best finish this season. Ludicrous looking for his best finish this entire season. Shredder dives to Ludicrous's inside, neck and neck. These two drivers go back to Season 1. Ludicrous, remember, was the IESC Season 1 champion, and back in 2018, Shredder won his first race in Forza in that series as well, and was a championship contender until the last race of the season then. So this is not a new rivalry, this is a classic one, but Shredder is pulling away from Ludicrous. Now look at their tire, 35% for Shredder. For Ludicrous, how is his tires looking like? 25. So I think Ludicrous is doing a medium soft strategy when it comes to his tire life today. Oh, Ludicrous brushes. Oh, wow, there's already a fight. What in the devil? It already happened. Valkyrie and Jay Caesar have already caught each other. Valkyrie is so much faster than Jay Caesar, it's not even funny. I thought we had another lap or two at least, but no. Valkyrie is already on Jay Caesar. Caesar is on Valkyrie's inside trying to fight him, but it's just not happening. Valkyrie is so much faster than Jay Caesar. He's just so much faster than everyone on pure laps right now. Again, if anyone can run down Mead, it's going to be Valkyrie. He absolutely has the speed to do it despite the accident earlier. Also, I'm anticipating we'll see Dindu come into the pits here either next lap or the lap afterwards. Mead, we are anticipating, will not pit again to the end of this race. Shredder has absolutely pulled away from Ludicrous. Ludicrous running the medium tires now, but when he makes his final stop, he'll be on softs and he'll be faster than everyone else. But honestly, I feel that Ludicrous could have potentially done medium soft soft instead of medium soft. Either way, though, it has given Ludicrous some decent track position, and he'll be one of the last drivers to pit, so his softs won't have any fall off at the end of this race. I anticipate we'll see Ludicrous surging in the last few laps of this race after he makes his final stop. Most, though not all, of the field has split up. There is some fight still going on. This is from 9th and 10th position. AMS Rambo trying to keep Prius Killer behind him. This is a Lexus versus a BMW fight here. Rambo's a bit sideways out of the hairpin of turn 1. And now Prius going to try and cross over. There's no room. I'm also going to go ahead and say that Mead has not won this race by default. Dindu is slowly opening the gap between himself and Mead. And Dindu is going to be pitting again, but when he pits again, he'll be on softs. Fresh softs to the end of this race compared to Mead, who's going to be on worn-out mediums. There is a possibility that Dindu might be able to run down Mead to fight for this race win here. And again, Valkyrie is fast enough, he could catch them both. We are looking at 3 different drivers that could win this race. Right now, it looks like Prius has gotten by Rambo. Rambo, who was fighting higher up the grid earlier at the nighttime, but it seems like as the day has turned on, Rambo is dealing with significant car fall off here. He does have the draft on Prius, and it's enough to keep him in play, but it does not look like he has what it takes to directly take the fight to Prius, let alone take the fight to drivers like Merckx or Little Caesar they had been fighting with for a good chunk of this event. NFL Racer also is in 13th position, but is poised to not make another pit stop in today's race, so we could potentially see NFL Racer move up to a 9th or 10th place finish here. AMS Merckx and PTG Little Caesar side by side under the heavy braking zone of turn 1. Little Caesar on the inside of Merckx. These two have not been able to get away from each other all day today. Shredder has blitzed away from them. I think Shredder is on the medium soft strategy. 33% for Little Caesar. yeah. So, no, Lil Caesar must be on the same strategy. Yeah, so Lil Caesar is on the same strategy as Ludicrous Speed. He's doing medium softs. And Mercs also is likely on a medium soft strategy as well. Shredder going medium soft. Is he going to make mediums on his final stint, or is he going to go softs for his final stint? Shredder can make softs on his final stint. He'll be able to make some incredible time. Speaking of which, Shredder is now catching PTG J Caesar. Now again, J Caesar is on harder tires than Shredder, but Shredder has legitimately caught him into the braking zone now. Shredder on the soft tires is absolutely carving through the field. The question, though, of course, is going to be, what can Shredder do on his final stint? Will he be able to make soft tires go to the end here? 49% roughly on that left front. So Shredder, I'm trying to work out the math right now, but honestly, for Shredder, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to the end on softs. If he does, Shredder might be in position to steal a 4th place finish here over J Caesar. Would be his best finish this season. Again, the big thing though is that J Caesar is going to be able to go farther on these medium tires, and when he pits, he'll likely put softs on for the last sprint to the end, and J Caesar, like Ludicrous Speed, who's about 4 seconds behind him, is going to be absolutely sprinting to the end of this race with tires far better than everyone else. So I said at Laguna Seca, it looked like we weren't going to see drivers making multiple different tire calls in the race. That might not be the case, unless I'm completely messing things up. I think a lot of drivers might be trying to either double stint mediums and single stint softs, or double stint softs and single stint mediums. But Shredder, who at some points was as far down as 8th or 9th, is in 4th on pace, utilizing everything that he can out of soft tires right now. Real quickly, I want to look at our race leader. That is Dindu. And Dindu is pitting right now. So Dindu will have to make his last set of tires last 15 laps, roughly. It's going to be an interesting call. I don't know if Dindu's going to be able to make it work, but while he's not on the same level of a tire whisperer as Mead is, he could potentially make it stick. The big thing for Mead, though, he is going to be on worn mediums to the end of this race. It is completely clean track. No one is around for him to deal with. And Mead trying to go back-to-back on wins here. And Shredder is pitting along with Dindu. So Shredder is going to pit as well. Shredder, who is known for tearing up his tires, I imagine he might be putting mediums on now. So Shredder, if he's putting on mediums, he'll be slower to the end of the event, but his tires aren't going to fall off a cliff in the last few laps. All right, so Dindu has ended up just a little bit behind PTG J Caesar. He's going to end up behind Ludicrous Speed as well, actually. Going to be just ahead of Lil Caesar, to be exact. By about 6 seconds, so Dindu has to get by Ludicrous. Shredder is way back. You lose so much time in pit lane. Now pit lane's being reconfigured and you use the actual pit exit. This is kind of like Laguna Seca in that sense. You just lose so much time making a pit stop now. All right, Valkyrie is within 10 seconds of Mead at the moment. He is absolutely running him down. If Valkyrie can close at a rate of a second a lap, he will have Mead by the end of this race. The big question, though, is can Mead make his tires last that long? Watching this fight between Ludicrous Speed and Dindu. Dindu trying to recover from a lap 1 spin. If Dindu can pull out a podium out of this, I will go ahead and say that would be driver of the day material. Ferrari versus Chevrolet. Dindu's not going to go too aggressively through the bus stop here. He still seems to be really struggling when he's running behind someone in the bus stop chicane. All right, real quickly, I want to look at Valkyrie's tires compared to Mead's tires. Valkyrie, 41% on the front tires. Mead, 22. So Valkyrie, I don't see him making it to the end without another pit stop. I think Valkyrie has another pit stop he's going to have to make. And while he is faster, he is closing by about a second a lap on Mead. It's another pit stop, a third pit stop of the day, would take Valkyrie absolutely out of contention for this race win. And And again, I think the fight then would just be between Mead and Dindu. And right now, the way it's looking like 12 laps to go, and Dindu is 20 seconds out from our leader. You do the math, Dindu will have to close by about 1.8 seconds each lap without fail. I'm not sure that can happen. I think the fight might be between Valkyrie and Dindu for the second place position here. Dindu has gotten by Ludicrous Speed now in the infield. So Ferrari has now opened up a bit of a gap on the Chevrolet. The other thing to wonder about, what is Shredder going to look like when it comes to the position of him versus Ludicrous Speed? Shredder is turning laps in clean air right now. Ludicrous just now going to start getting clean air now. Dindu's pulled away from him. Dindu, I think, is on track for a 4th position for, at the minimum, assuming he doesn't spin again, might be able to steal 3rd from Jay Caesar. Big thing for Dindu is that he's made his final stop kind of early, so his tires are going to be hurting at the end of this run. Jay Caesar, when he makes a stop, he'll be throwing on softs and is going to be absolutely blitzing, just like Ludicrous Speed, who is just a little bit behind Dindu. I think Jay Caesar is fighting with Dindu for 3rd. Dindu is fighting with Jay Caesar and Ludicrous Speed and SRD Shredder. And Dindu could end up anywhere 3rd to 6th, but I think more likely he's going to end up in 4th or 5th. Ludicrous, I think his best position he can be is 5th, especially now we just saw Ludicrous go off circuit again there in turn 1. But Ludicrous, I think the best he can finish will be 5th. Shredder is also in position that the best he can finish will be 5th as well. 6th is AMS Mercs, and I think that's about as high as he can get. Valkyrie has closed it down to less than 7.5 seconds. He's only 7 seconds out from Mead right now. The big problem, though, is that Valkyrie will have to pit just because of the tire life. Unless he's got, like, hards on and I'm not aware of it, I see no way that he makes this happen. He's within 7 seconds. He is still absolutely one of the fastest drivers here. And the big thing, though, is that Valkyrie, I don't know where he's going to end up in relation to Caesar and Dindu. I think he's going to end up ahead of Dindu. Just because Dindu is going to burn up his tire. Oh my goodness, Valkyrie nearly wrecks the car again out of the bus stop. And that's the other thing with Valkyrie. That car is absolutely evil. Coming out of that bus stop chicane. Is he coming in now? Yes, Valkyrie's coming in now. He's within. Let's see, he is at 51% tire life. And Jay Caesar is pitting with Valkyrie. So those two, Jay Caesar and Valkyrie, are pitting with 11 laps to go. So their soft tires shouldn't have to deal with too much pull-off on the run to the end here. Lil Caesar is going to be pitting with them as well. So now Dindu moves up into 2nd position. He is 19.7 seconds out from our race leader, but at the rate it's going, he would have to close by 2 seconds a lap without fail. And Dindu has to nurse his tires as well. I think Mead's got this thing won. Here's my other question. Shredder versus Ludicrous Speed. We are almost guaranteed that just because of fuel consumption, Ludicrous Speed will have to make one more stop, a splash and go on soft tires at the end of this. Where is Shredder going to end up in relation? There's Jay Caesar, who's coming out on track just ahead of Shredder. Shredder's just blitzed by Jay Caesar. I did not expect that, so that's not going to help Jay Caesar at all. And Shredder is fast enough, he actually opens the gap between himself and Jay Caesar at the moment. Now again, though, Shredder is on warm tires. Jay Caesar is on fresh, so Jay Caesar should have no trouble picking up and laying Shredder down once he gets his tires up to temperature here. The other thing as well is that Shredder has Indoctro about 3 seconds up the road. If Shredder catches Indoctro, that could help him a little bit just with the extra speed in a straight line. Oh my goodness. Oh, you can't do that. Jay Caesar wisely backs out of it. He's not going to be happy that it was pushed below the double yellow. Is Jay Caesar going to make the move into the braking zone this time? He's staying up for it. He moves to the inside of Shredder under heavy braking. He backs out of it. Ludicrous Speed and AMS Mercs are now paying out 3rd and 4th position. Merckx is one of the drivers that Shredder spent a lot of time fighting with. And there's Indoctro! Indoctro's just had a crash! Indoctro has had a crash! The car is destroyed! Completely destroyed top to bottom! How does this change everything? Is this a yellow flag? Mead is still going at full speed. So nothing to suggest that's a yellow flag. But Indoctro's car was absolutely destroyed there right in front of two of our top contenders here. Shredder is still ahead of Jay Caesar at the moment. I'm shocked we didn't see a yellow flag from that, honestly. A car was stopped on the track, completely destroyed in every way, but apparently we stay green. I don't know if Dremora was involved in that. It looked like Dremora might have been right in the middle of it. Shredder is slowing down now, and now Shredder is giving the position to Jay Caesar. We have a caution! The yellow flag is out! So it is a yellow flag. Oh, and this basically gives Valkyrie the win by default, I imagine, because he's going to have some of the freshest tires of everyone at the front of the field. And Mead, who was making everything work, now is ruined. His day is over. He is going to be on the worst tires of everyone on track on a sprint that's not even going to be 10 laps to the end. I don't know why they waited so long to call the yellow flag. But real quickly, everything's going to come down to what tires does everyone have. If you pit, you're going to automatically throw away positions. You'll be faster, but you're going to be so many seconds behind, you're not going to catch the drivers ahead. So Mead is at 33% tires right now. Dindu, who is in second position, this will help him make his tires last. He is at 21%, but he's got softs as opposed to the mediums that Mead is on. Valkyrie, who is in third, is going to have some of the best tires, less than 10% wear. So Valkyrie is going to recover from an accident to win this race unless something happens that knocks him off track. I just don't see that happening. Fourth place is going to be Ludicrous Speed. His tires are even fresher than Valkyrie's. Fifth place is going to be Shredder, and Shredder is going to be really upset. He is in the 23% range on tire life. Jay Caesar, who's going to be right behind him, 10%. So Jay Caesar is going to have some really fresh tires as well. Merckx, who is in 7th. 6% tires. So a lot of these drivers have already pitted very recently and have relatively fresh rubber to the end of this race. It's really just going to be Shredder and Mead who are in the worst positions. Here's Prius Killer. 20% tire life. Here's AMS Rambo. 10%. Dino Prime, who is in the 11th spot. Not really talked about him all day. He's been in a fight with NFL Racer. He's in the 20% range. NFL Racer, who is in 12th. 38%. That's not going to look good for him, but he doesn't really have a lot to lose. And here's Dremora, who is last place. 2 laps down, but he's on fresh rubber. I think he was involved in the accident with Indoctro. 2% tires, but again, Indoctro is the one who brought out the yellow, so I imagine he'll have to make a mandatory stop as they come to the green. So, Indoctro's pretty much locked in the 13th position. Dremora is basically locked into the 14th position. The field is all gathered up, and this is not looking good. Now, if anyone decides to pit, they'll have fresher tires and faster tires in this race, but I'm looking at only 8 laps to go. If we go green this time, that's just not enough time to make up. That's not enough laps to make up all the time you'll lose by pitting. I think everyone's kind of have to stick with the bed they've made. Valkyrie, the fastest man all day, had an accident early, but now he is in third and could be in position to make up from an accident to bring home a win due to this late race yellow. The field is all gathered up. Is anyone going to be pitting? No one. No one is pitting. All right. We're coming to the green flag, and we're underway. Mead out in front with warm tires. Here comes Dindu on the inside of Mead. Can't make it stick. Valkyrie looking to the extreme outside right away. And Mead has lost it immediately in turn one. Valkyrie is already side by side with Dindu, backs out of it. Mead has fallen behind Valkyrie. Now Mead lunges to the inside of Valkyrie, trying to keep the Acura trapped on the outside. Shredder is there. Jay Caesar is there. Valkyrie out-accelerates Mead, but Mead is not giving up yet. Side by side in a high-speed bend, Mead has to back out. His tires just don't have what it takes. Dindu leads for right now. His tires, though, are more worn than Valkyrie's. Valkyrie's already to the inside of the Ferrari. Ferrari has the inside line. Lexus of Mead lunges, but can't get alongside of Valkyrie. Side by side. And the superior acceleration of the Acura might be all that's needed. Dindu now runs right behind Valkyrie. Valkyrie, after a self-inflicted accident earlier, is going to take someone else's self-inflicted accident to maybe win this race back. Dindu is not done yet. He looks to the outside, side by side for a lead, going into the bus stop chicane. Oh, Valkyrie loses it completely. He's lost the plot. But he's still side by side. It's not over yet. A bad run through the bus stop chicane. Dindu is fighting back. And Mead is right there in third with burnt out tires. So is Jay Caesar. So is Shredder. Valkyrie looking at the outside. Here comes Mead. Mead has a big run. Mead's going to go to the outside. Dindu has the inside. Valkyrie's already got by him. And Valkyrie's through. Superior top end, I think. And superior acceleration, even with a complete failure in the bus stop chicane. Valkyrie is just too fast in a straight line. And Dindu has now slipped to fourth. Mead is in second. Jay Caesar is in third. And that will likely settle the race win. Dr. and Dramora taking their mandatory penalty pit stops now. They were both already multiple laps down, so that's not really going to change their final positions. Shredder is in fifth right now, on track to potentially tie his best finish this season. Mead, who has worn out tires, is just trying to fight a losing battle right now. He does have some straight line advantage, but that's negated by the draft of the cars behind. Valkyrie has opened up 7/10 on Mead, and Valkyrie is on fresh tires. Fresh softs at that. Mead can't keep the car under him properly in the turn one hairpin. Oh, and Mead's the one who loses it this time. And Jay Caesar goes to his inside, but can't make it stick. Here comes Dindu on the outside. Valkyrie didn't have a good run the bus stop either. Mead is still within 1 second of Valkyrie, but it does look like Valkyrie will walk off with this. Jay Caesar now looks to the inside. Dindu, is he going to go to the outside? Jay Caesar is below the double yellow. That might have to be looked at post-race. He's below the double yellow. Dindu lunges to the outside. Well, Jay Caesar couldn't make that stick. Valkyrie is not pulling away at the rate he thought he would, though. He's got a comfortable lead. Here comes Caesar. Lunges to the inside of the Lexus and gets him into the corner panel and pushes the Lexus wide, coming out of the first hairpin. Dindu and Jay Caesar are locked in a death fight for third. Both of them are faster than Mead, but they're both spending so much time fighting with each other that it's letting Mead hold on to second. Valkyrie has now opened up a plus 1 second gap on Mead at this stage of the event. So as long as Valkyrie doesn't self-inflict another accident, he can come home. But that car has been evil today. He needs to be careful. Shredder has lost touch with the second, third, fourth fight. He is in the death fight with Ludacris right now. Both of them are on worn tires. Mead still runs in second. Dindu is third right now. Jay Caesar has solidified in fourth. Now Dindu is lunging. He's got way fresher tires. The Ferrari is on the inside, but not in a position to make it stick. Here comes Jay Caesar on the outside of the Ferrari once again. Now Jay Caesar falls back in line behind the Ferrari. We still do have enough laps that if something happened to cause a caution, we would go back on the yellow flag. But right now, I think we can make it green to the end. Dindu and Caesar got into it, and now here comes Shredder. Shredder now in fourth, as he is side by side with the BMW. Oh, and he gets touched sideways. Caesar drops tires in the dirt. Here comes Lucas, who's also dropped tires in the dirt. Rambo is there as well. And Shredder trapped on the outside. That's not been a good area for the Mercedes, but he's going to outdrive Ludacris. So Shredder still holds on to fifth for the moment. Here comes Ludacris to the inside, now to the outside, and that's Rambo who drifts off circuit back there. Valkyrie pulled a bunch on lap 39, but here on lap 40, he is not pulling as much from Mead and Dindu. If Dindu gets by Mead, Dindu might have a shot at trying to run down Valkyrie. But with this few laps left, I don't know if that's going to happen. You basically, Dindu and Mead would both have to be a half second a lap faster than Valkyrie. I'm just not seeing that. Shredder runs right behind Jay Caesar. Boy, a lot of dirt from Jay Caesar, completely bungled the run. And now Shredder's coming on the outside. Jay Caesar falls back to fifth now. And Mead and Dindu are in a fight side by side for second. Right now, though, Mead holds position. Dindu has the run on the Lexus. He looks to the outside. Now he falls back in line behind. Now he looks to the outside again. Valkyrie has finally opened up a gap, not really off of sheer pace on his own, but because everyone behind him can't stop fighting with each other. They're three wide further back. Shredder, Caesar, and Ludacris. Ludacris backs out of it early. Shredder slides. Jay Caesar slides. And Shredder is going to hold the position. Ludacris can't capitalize on Jay Caesar sliding, though. Oh, and maybe he can. Jay Caesar seems to be slow on the uptick. He looks to the inside, can't make it there. Ludacris trying the crossover on corner exit. Now Jay Caesar looks to the outside of Shredder. I think he's going to try and cross it over, but can't. Now it's Ludacris who just got by Jay Caesar. Jay Caesar is crumbling under pressure in these final laps. What should have been a top three finish is now not even in the top five. Rambo is there looking to add to Jay Caesar's frustrations. Ludacris might be on track for his best finish this season. Shredder is on track for his best finish this season. Dindu has lost Mead just a little bit at this stage of the event. So it looks like our top three finishers may have solidified their positions. Jay Caesar lunges on Ludacris in the bus stop chicane. Ludacris can't hold Jay Caesar back. But Shredder has been able to hold Jay Caesar back. This fight between these two is not over yet. Jay Caesar outside, Shredder inside. BMW versus Mercedes. It's 3 laps to go right now. Shredder on the inside, Jay Caesar outside. Jay Caesar really having trouble keeping the car under him, but he's not lost too much ground yet. Rambo ahead of Merckx right now, very unexpected scenario. Shredder going to run very defensive into the first of the 2 infield hairpins. Jay Caesar trying to make the outside work, can't make it work. Now here comes Ludacris, speed back. Ludacris runs right in line behind the BMW. So 4 different manufacturers fighting for these positions of 4th through 7th. Rambo gets to the inside of Ludacris, splits him a bit wide. That means Jay Caesar doesn't have to defend. He can focus ahead on Shredder. He looks to the inside. He's all sorts of sideways. Dunn runs deep on the run into Speedway turn run. And Shredder crosses him over, gets the position back, and here's Rambo! Rambo in the Lexus now is going to take the fight to Jay Caesar. fight for second isn't over yet either. Dindu has caught Mead back once more. Lots of dirt thrown in Jay Caesar's face as Rambo tried to make something happen on Shredder, but he can't. All three cars drop tires into the dirt there. Farther up the fight for the podium positions. Dindu versus Mead. Valkyrie is gone. He'll be taking 2 laps to go, and that will mean there will be no more yellows to the end of this race here. Fights for second, fights for 4th through 7th right now. Define the field. Mead trying to make old tires last. Dindu trying to get Ferrari their best finish this season. Shredder and Rambo have a bit of a crossover under braking, and Shredder holds on to 4th. Rambo now slips back to 6th. Rambo slips back to 7th, and he gets into Jay Caesar. And Jay Caesar is going to lose a bunch of time. Rambo and Ludacris now have runs on him. And that might be enough to give Shredder 4th. That would be his best finish this season if he can keep it together. Whatever happens, happens. There are no more yellows in the last 2 laps of the race. Jay Caesar trying to run down on Shredder, but he's got Ludacris now in his draft behind him. Rambo's just a little bit behind Ludacris, close enough to maybe get a draft. If these two make a mistake, he might get a good run coming to the start-finish line. Ludacris closes in aggressively under braking. Shredder didn't have the greatest run into the bus stop chicane or out of it. Jay Caesar fires out of it like he shot out of a cannon. He's opening the gap down on Ludacris and trying to close the gap on Shredder. They're coming to the white flag this time. And for 2nd and 3rd, nose to tail, Ferrari versus Lexus. This could be a fight. A drag race photo finish for 2nd to the line. Jay Caesar is all sorts of sideways. Can't make the move on Shredder this time. He's got Ludacris behind him. This is the last lap. There will not be another chance after this. Smoke him if you got him. Jay Caesar had a great run in the first hairpin corner that time, but Ludacris shoots out with an even better run. Jay Caesar has to equally fight forward as well as defend backward. Jay Caesar looking at the outside. He's going to try a crossover on the Mercedes. Coming out the 2nd infield hairpin. He's got the run. He's looking at the inside of Shredder. He does not. Shredder is going to hold the position. Now they're going to call him onto the speedway once again. Contact! No one goes below the double yellow though. Shredder defends the inside line. Ludacris is right behind Jay Caesar. Jay Caesar is nose to bumper on Shredder. And the fight for 2nd is active as well. Here comes Jay Caesar to the inside of Shredder. Neck and neck. It will be the last time into a heavy braking zone for these two. Shredder pulls ahead. And here comes Ludacris. He's got his bumper now to Jay Caesar's rear. Your winner is going to be Valkyrie. But for 2nd position, Mead on burnt out tires is trying to keep the Ferrari and Dindu behind him. Dindu has a huge draft run coming to the start-finish line. Mead high, Dindu low. And at the line, Mead will get 2nd, Dindu 3rd. What about 4th and back? Shredder, Caesar, Speed, Rambo. Mercs should come home in 8th, Lil Caesar in 9th, Prius in 10th, Dino in 11th. NFL Racer, for whatever reason, completely irrelevant, coming way back down in 12th. And Dr. Olap, that will be 13th. Dremora will be 14th. And Valkyrie has some misfortune of his own, but capitalizes on the misfortune of backmarkers to bring home his 5th win this season and go back to taking command of the season. He's showing some weakness, but it's not a weakness that is terminal. He is still on top of the series. All right, I'm just trying to get people into the party now for post-race interviews here. Well, I do have one of our top finishers. I'll go ahead and talk with him first. Indiel Dindu, go ahead, include your audio. In the Ferrari, you spun out lap 1 in the bus stop chicane. 1 second. He says he's disconnected. Well, Xbox parties are being a crap again today. All right, I'll come back to Dindu, I guess. Our first interview. Valkyrie, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, include your audio. I hope that Shredder and Dindu will be able to fix their party issue shortly here. But Valkyrie, fantastic run and qualifying, great in the darkness, but when the day came, you showed a lot of weakness and recovered still to take home the victory. What do you have to say about that run today?
Yeah, qualifying was good. Good pace in the car. Car felt good. The car didn't really change much from night to day. It was just more rubber on the track, more traction. That was about it. But I made a silly mistake on the exit the first corner at the end of my second pit stop stint and got a damage a couple of laps before I was due to come in. So I had to kind of throw my strategy out the window and just sort of thought, screw it, and went 3-stop on all softs. And I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have gone medium on that last stint. But man, that safety car, that yellow saved my day. I can't give enough props to Mead though. Like, he should have won that race. That was his race, and he did everything perfectly today.
All right, well, it was a fantastic drive. Also, this means that you'll go back to extending your lead at the front of the championship. But this is 2 weeks now. We've seen some weakness from you. Do you still think you have this championship in your hands, or do you think that someone else might be able to make a run for it now?
That all depends on me, honestly. I need to sort out the setup. So I struggled a lot last week with the car balance, and today again it was a little twitchy if the rear stepped out. So I need to sort those issues out.
All right. Well, still a fantastic recovery drive today, mate. 5 wins in the first 6 races of the season. You're definitely keeping it interesting, though, for our end, and that's my happiness. Thank you for talking with us. I look forward to seeing you in our next race. All right, I want to talk with our second place finisher, AMS Mead, real quickly. Mead, go ahead, include your audio. After a little bit of a mishap from Valkyrie, it looked like you had that race won. And then the yellow flag came out. And with cooked tires, you still came home second. How in the world did you do that?
Honestly, I don't know. I thought I was winning that race with the strategy. I thought I winged it and thought I'll try medium, see how long they go at the start of the race. And I just thought, you know what, at halfway through the first stint, I'll see how... They said I could go halfway through the race, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a one-stop. That caution, though, absolutely screwed me over, and I was sweating like hell after that caution to try and keep them all behind me and try and maybe even keep up with Valkyrie to get the slipstream. But no, the tyres were struggling.
Well, for struggling tires, you still brought that Lexus home to a second place finish. I cannot believe what you did there. Like, that's the kind of stuff of legends. Like, those tires were cooked. You were in like the high 60s by the end of that race. I don't know how in the world you made that happen.
I just made sure that all the way through both stints, I was just making it so the tyres didn't slip. Even though the bus stop wasn't liking that, I was trying to kill the car. I was trying to look after the rear tyres as much as possible, so it gave me a little bit of balance to be able to just floor it out the corner sometimes. But yeah, the tyres were dead.
All right, well, Mead, here's one thing. We know at Sebring, the big thing that helped bring you the win there was straight line speed. Here at Daytona, another straight line speed track, another great performance. Our next race, if I remember correctly, is Le Mans, the ultimate in straight line speed tracks. Do you think you have a chance then?
I'm hoping so. That's my favourite track of the whole calendar. So I'm praying to God that the car actually works well there, and hopefully, no offence Valkyrie, that you have a bad run.
All All right, well, great drive out there, Mead. Also, Mead, you will definitely lock in your position of second in the points with that run. Great drive out there. We look forward to seeing what you can do in the future, mate.
Thanks.
All right, now I want to talk to NDL Dindu. Dindu, I'm sorry, I tried to say something to you earlier. Xbox crashed, said you disconnected. I tried kicking you, then re-inviting you, and you kept coming back in, and the party kept automatically kicking you. I'm sorry. Hopefully the party is working now. Go ahead and include your audio. Spin on the first lap of the race, and you still come home to a podium. What do you have to say today?
Yeah, good recovery in the end. I think a few things are a bit up against me today. I couldn't one stop, didn't have the fuel. The spin at start, with my fault, I guess, but it didn't help. And then a bit of blinking on the straights was a bit funny. But yeah, podium, happy to say.
All right, you've put the Ferrari on the podium several times now this season. Do you think a win is in the cards before this season is over?
I mean, I hope so. There's a few tracks now left I do quite like, so I'm hoping that things go my way and I can claim a win, yeah.
All right, one last question I do have to ask. You are the only driver in the Ferrari, and you keep bringing home these fantastic runs out of it. What is it in the Ferrari that is making it work for you? You know, we see with Mead, it's the straight line speed. With Valkyrie, it's the acceleration, the ability to change lanes on corner exit. What is making the Ferrari work for you, though?
I think just passion, you know, I do anything for this brand. You know, I just really love the car, and yeah, I want to get as many points as I can for it.
Respect. A Ferrari lover to the end. I respect you for that. Anyways, great job on another podium drive today. Didn't do. Now I want to go ahead, talk with our fourth place finisher, SRD Shredder. Shredder, for a large chunk of this race, you were fighting in a position that could see you finish as bad as 9th. And at the end of it, you bring it home into a 4th place finish. Their best finish of your season. How in the world did you do that? And what do you have to say about your run today?
I mean, well, start of the race, sort of got bundled with everyone. I noticed pretty much straight away I had one of the better top end cars, and also probably easily top 5 for cars going through the bus stop. Like that Merc had a planted rear end through there, so I could slingshot out there with some great speed and pass people into turn 1. That is if Little Caesar wasn't doing the boomerang technique and just going around the outside of the insides there. So I had a battle with him till the first pit stops. But I think I was the only person that went onto the softs, or like one of 2 people onto softs for the second stint. And so shot past everyone there, made some mad positions, and then lap 30 came along, pitting for another set of softs, even though I probably should have gotten lap 31. Came out just ahead of Jay Caesar, and then was it 35 or 36 when caution came out?
It was about lap 35.
Yeah, I had that sort of like bunch back up. Knew I was in a good place there. The drafting was potential, but I knew everyone in front is like Tora A lobby, and also had like some Caesar behind me and the other Caesar behind me as well. So it was going to be a tough fight. And then doing well, had them all caught up in the draft, and then Dindu had a lag switch going into tri-oval, which completely destroyed momentum of Caesar, and then that sort of like bundled all us back. So from the start of the restart, there was potential for a podium, but with that gap, it wasn't going to get made up, especially with everyone else fighting behind for position. And then Alan's car decided to go on strike, and he started falling back a bit, and then I decided to hold on with whatever tires I had left, because I was nudging 60 right at the very end.
Somehow you made it stick. I'm sure that one lap in yellow helped. Best result of the season by far, Shredder. At the rate this is going, I think you can bring home a top 5 point finish at the end of the season. Do you think that's still in the cards for you?
It depends on that. I mean, for this race, I found ways to unlock pace in the car that I didn't know before, so there's a potential that I could keep up some level of competent tuning and pace the rest of the season, but it's not a promise. Also, Daytona is like one of the better tracks on me, so that played into it a lot here.
All right, one last question. This is not as you as a driver, but as an official. The top 6 cars in today's race, 6 different manufacturers: Acura, Lexus, Ferrari, Mercedes, BMW, Chevrolet. A lot more parity, at least on the timesheets, than we've ever seen before in this series. Is this just fortune, or is this just all according to plan?
I think it's more like, I think it was luck of the draw, this one, because with the way it was going, Mead had a very good chance to have a pull off, and then I think Ludicrous and the two Caesars have also gone there as well. So that probably with like they could have got for like a fourth and a fifth little Caesars, the two Caesars, depending on how good their pace was. And then yeah, as I said, yeah, caution came out, bunched everyone up, and then everyone just started fighting for scraps. Like Sebring we had last year.
So you feel it's more fortunate than anything else, where it was you had 6 different manufacturers in the top 6 positions. Understandable.
I mean, going before that, there was like there were what was it, a varied amount, but right at the very end, that was when the big shakeup happened.
Yep. All right, fair enough. Anyways, great job on your 4th place finish, Shredder. I want to talk with PTGJ Caesar now. Caesar, go ahead, include your audio. I don't know what to say. I kind of expected stronger from you, but at the same time, you looked bad at some parts today, and I thought you were going to be finishing in, like, 9th. You kind of bounced it out to 5th. What do you have to say about your run today?
Yeah, I'm not happy with the way the race turned out. It's been a very poor evening through a few different things. Mostly, the car has been 6/10 slower through quali and the race compared to where it should have been. So I don't know if it's a lobby thing, connection, but the car has been consistently slow in public lobbies or in the private lobbies as such, as opposed to practice with all the correct settings in free play. So there's been that. Had a good run, I feel, through the race for the most part, with some battles. Commiserations to Ludicrous. We was having some good fights there. Congratulations again to Valkyrie, and Mead lost out a little bit there. He did a phenomenal job. But there seems to be some lingering issues with this car's pace. With, again, the game. It's kind of crazy how you can go from being 3/10 behind somebody, some of the top players there in this series, and then suddenly just being 7/10 off. The tune has been great, like I say, in practice it's been fine, and then it's just dropped off, so you can't really fight. After the restart there, after the safety car, we had a lag issue there with Dindu. I was like, I don't know, maybe 50 feet behind him, and then all of a sudden I was literally halfway inside his car. Somehow, no damage. That lost all the momentum. I think there could have been a potential for a podium at the end of the race there, but just lost momentum with those incidences. So, yeah, that's about all I really have to say. Overall, not happy with how the race has turned out.
All right, next race in the season, if my memory serves correctly, is going to be Le Mans. What are your anticipations for the BMW at Le Mans? You have been by far the best BMW driver all day long. What do you think the car can do there?
Well, again, that'll depend if Forza in their infinite wisdom with the Forza gods deem it applicable for me to have a good car under me. It seems to be a game of Russian roulette with at the minute with the car. First 2 weeks were bad, second 2 weeks were great. This one and Sebring not so good. I think the car has potential with the right build and the right balance to have some good top end. It's, I think, even though the handling seems to be relatively good, I don't know if it's the long wheelbase, but it tends to struggle in the traction out of low speed corners, which is an area which really lets it down. So it just kind of hinders you from getting on power quick enough. Have to kind of really feather and play with the throttle. But we will see what happens.
Well, either way, like I said, it looked like you might have had a way worse result coming your way, and you still dug deep and came home 5th. So even if I went into this race expecting a podium, a 5th in a car that probably should have been 8th or 9th is honestly pretty solid. And I do have to commend you. Fantastic drive on making that happen.
I think that's probably down to the experience. I've been on this game a long time.
All right. Well, great drive out there. And that will wrap up our interviews post-race. If my memory serves correctly, I believe we're going into a 1-week break for Tora's endurance at
No, that's the
Kailani,
week
I
after next week. We're racing Le Mans
Okay.
next week, and then we've got a
Okay.
gap week.
Okay, so it's Le Mans next week, and then we have a gap week. Okay, so next weekend, you can see us go around Le Mans. That will be our last race before a break week. Pretty much the biggest race of the season. A historical race that's been on the ISC calendar for almost every season. Really interested to see how that turns out. But until next time, I've been your host, Insane Leader 13. Thank you, everyone, very much for jumping in and watching. Until next time, stay safe, and goodbye.